Welcome back to the After School Project. I'm so excited to see you guys loving the content, subscribing to the channel, liking, and leaving comments below. That means something about this content is engaging to you, or maybe for some of you, something about this face is engaging to you, or maybe the voice. Hopefully, you're here for the content, but if you're here for the face or the voice, that's fine for me. You can stick around. This face is gonna be here for a bit longer. Today I want us to discuss something that affects, I think, almost everyone in the world, but I'll speak about it in the context of South Africa, and that is your credit score. And remember, this channel is targeted mostly towards high school students and those starting out in varsity. But I think the idea of credit scores affects even people who are beyond those two levels. And the reason I want to discuss credit scores with people who are in high school or people who are starting out in university is because that is, in my opinion, the best time to work on your credit rating or your credit score. But firstly, what is this idea of a credit score, a credit rating? Basically, it is a measure of how reliable you are to people from whom you lend goods or you lend money. So basically, companies want to know before they lend you money, like anybody else who wants to lend you money, is this person able to repay this money, or are they able to repay these goods or services that they're taking on future earnings? And companies can't do that themselves. They can't keep a score or a record on everyone that's borrowing or creating accounts or lending money and credit from them. So there are these credit bureau companies, they call them. These companies collect all this data and they follow your transactions around, and regulations from the government allow them to do this to some extent, but they're all registered. So they follow your transaction history in terms of lending and repayments, and they check to what extent are you paying back and how timeously are you paying back your credit when you borrow this money. And then this information is then made available to companies that borrow services or that lend money out, for example banks and, let's say, fashion stores from whom you can get accounts. When they need to give you an account, when they need to give you a loan, they first check with these credit bureau companies to see how faithful you are in paying back your finances. And you can be negatively listed if you're always borrowing but not paying back. And you can work on your positive credit score, as they call it, by paying timeously or making sure that you settle previous debts, previous accounts. And this is particularly important for, especially when you're starting out in university. There can be a lot of pressure to create, especially clothing and cell phone accounts, because you see people in varsity rocking the latest smartphone, they're rocking the latest clothes, and you rush onto Foschini, you create your Markhams or Sports Scene account, you buy those new clothes on account, and for some time maybe you're able to pay back because NSFAS or your bursary is giving you money monthly or in lump sums. But at some point you fail to make these payments and they try to reach out to you for some time, and if you are unable to make these payments for a long time, they then declare you negatively to these credit bureau companies. Their lawyers will do that, and that may seem like a small thing, but it will have consequences once you complete your studies. Maybe you get your first job and you're trying to buy your first car or maybe your first house on credit that may be impacted by these previous debts that you had unnecessarily. Also, if you have no credit history at all, you're also negatively listed, but that's a very small problem. It doesn't mean, as some people, I often hear them say, no, I'm gonna have these accounts because if I don't have them, then I don't have a credit record. But if you're not gonna be borrowing money right away. I don't think you need to put yourself under that pressure. I think once you've completed or you're nearing completion of your studies, you can have a small account that you pay back just to show that faithfulness of paying and have a credit history and a positive credit score. And also, if you are a person who constantly is checking for their credit record, because there are companies that will allow you to check your credit record or your credit score. For example, you can check on your banking app. Most of the banking apps allow you to check estimates on how much you can get on a loan or things like that. You must check with your bank whether they're doing a hard check or a soft check. Basically, in very simplistic language, a soft check is not reported to the credit bureau companies, but a hard check is in depth and is reported to these companies. And the more hard checks you're doing, they also impact on your credit rating. They impact negatively on your credit rating because these companies see that you're constantly asking for loans, potentially which you're not getting, which also says something negative about your score. So that is a quick one on credit record. The gist of it is, do not get in any debt that is not absolutely necessary to you. Try to live within your means and resist the urge to be like the cool kids, especially in high school and in university. Comment below if you like this content. We're going to be starting a financial series soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, share it with somebody who might need this content. Thank you so much.